Howdy folks, back with another short video this time. Uh, I wanted to show people kind of the end game for Stranded, uh, Alien Dawn. A lot of people start in on the game and they have a lot of problems because they're so focused on resource acquisition, and they get sidetracked with farming, and they get sidetracked with taming the animals and that kind of stuff. And really what that does is really slow you down, your progress. They realize a little too late that the fewer tasks that your people have to do, the faster that they will do things like research and constructing buildings and whatnot, and then also doing the manufacturing on the workbenches and stuff. Making clothing, weapons, things like that. They're always running off and chopping wood or something like that, and it's an easy trap to fall into. And so they get a little frustrated, and they'll get, say, 50% or 75% into the game, and then they just give up. And they just have a lot of problems with the research. And you can see here I've done all the research. So I wanted to make a video and show what you can do with that research, some of the results of it. So you can see right here, not only did I make the mechs, but I also made the large combat mech. I made the little ones, the small mechs, made a couple of those, and you can see lifetime kills 1,500 on that one, 1,700 on that one. And then I made the big one, and it's really efficient, so I'm well over 2,500 kills with it. Well worth the research. When you have the mass attacks by the animals, I never send out two people. I only send one, and I'll put them in that big mech, or even a single little mech, and just kind of strategize and do that. Have fun with it. So one of my goals in the game was I quickly learned that there's too much of this, going left, going right, and of course you can pull back, but then you don't get to see the detail, and it might be really hard to click on the exact thing you want without coming in closer to it. And you can get a little too close. Obviously you need to be able to kind of see the big picture. So what I learned was that I want everything in more or less in one screen. And so what I did was, let's see what we can do with this little guy. He got a little too close. Maybe we'll get some food out of him. Oh, shucks. Anyway, sorry about the distraction. So what I learned was is you're gonna have your own favorite, angle, viewpoint. Maybe you wanted to go this direction. However you want to do things, you're eventually going to settle on your favorite way to keep an eye and manage and micromanage the game. And I found mine's kind of about an angle like this, and most of the action's going to take place in here. And this is my main building, and I ended up making it out of carbon floors, carbon walls, the whole bit. And you can see, so I have all my trade skill stuff, benches and things, manufacturing benches, production benches, all up close here. I've got different wardrobes for weapons, gas mask, the EM umbrella that keeps them dry in the rain, and then a couple for clothing here. And then I have 5 freezers that I use. to hold all the food and the food products and the raw materials to make food. And I'm just doing a little condensing right there. So anyway, then I've got the sleeping area back here. Let me zoom in a little bit. You can see I made some nice beds back here for everybody. And here's a relaxation center. I have the arcade game and just a nice comfortable leather armchair. Got the bench press. And I'm filming this about 1 in the morning. That's why I'm yawning. Sorry about that. The VR video game virtual reality setup where they can learn different skills, like cooking simulator, and as they do it, they can have a chance to learn skill experience. And so you can do a random one, or you can set them all on cooking if that's a skill you want people to raise up. Anyway, I've got the old didgeridoo and the hand pan there, and then I brought the punching pole inside. It needs to get fixed. I'm going to put that on the to-do list there. And anyway, now I got my gardening area out here, and one thing I learned pretty quick was you don't need to have huge gardens. You can have very small ones and they'll produce just enough, and because your use will not be heavy. Once you learn all the recipes and skill levels high enough to be able to produce those recipes, you just don't need 10,000. I'll pick something here. The buttermelons. You just don't need 10,000 of them. A couple hundred is enough. And you can produce plenty of recipes out of that and get a wide variety of food for your people. Got my power bank back here. I moved and condensed my windmills all sufficient distance away. I put my animal statues out here. Again, this is far enough away it's out of the way, but it's close enough if they have to go repair something or they want to go appreciate a statue and raise up their relaxation scores and things, they can do that. And so I've managed to make all the different statues. So here, let me get in a little closer so you can see some detail if you haven't gotten to the stage of the game yet. I put dog statues in the corners and had them facing the different directions, so it goes in like a circular pattern. And then I had the different ones over here. It'd be like almost good versus evil. Here's the so-called evil insects that will attack, and here's the good ones, and they can attack too. But they're more the ones you can domesticate and use for food and et cetera, et cetera. Do I have a gulch? A glutch? Yeah, I've got a glutch. Anywho, I've gotten to the point where I've mined all the things you can mine. They're finishing up on doing some of the scavenging on the fallen spaceship debris. I've sent them on task to collect up just the wood that is laying on the ground to go ahead and chop it up. But I've got several storage places here, and let me go ahead and bump this up, and I'll show you the whole compound to what I built up, and then I'll explain some of it. So I've gotten to the point where I have the orbital antennas, and then I built, let me take this back down, and I built a landing pad over here. And you have to make it out of very strong construction material. So I start out with a center of brick, and then concrete, and then brick again, and then concrete again. And so I did the old squared circle there. and I like the pattern of it, and it helps accentuate the bullseye pattern of the landing spot that overlays it. You can see out here, I use stone for these. Oh, good Lord. She got hurt. I used stone over here. At the time, I had plenty of it. And concrete and bricks take a long time to produce in sufficient quantities to build anything. So I stuck with stone and wood and carbon. And so I built a ginormous storage center here, but I didn't build it for the storage. The storage is an incidental, it's a secondary benefit of it. What I built it for was the solar panels. I wanted a huge solar paneled roof so that I didn't run out of power and my batteries would charge up so fast that I just didn't have to worry about that. So let me come over here and we'll do the full building again. Okay, so you can see I've got my my mech center here. The other orbital facility has got some storage in it, as does this one. You can see through the windows there. So I built the 4 layers. It's 3 stories of building, and then this top is was initially for the solar panels when I first researched that technology. And it was, each solar panel itself only supplies, in this case right now, like 4 or 5 or 6. It just doesn't produce a lot of electricity. But when you have so many of them, that's where the numbers come in. And so let me click on a windmill back here and you can kind of see. So again, a windmill right now at its lowest is only producing 4 out of 40. There's hardly any wind right now, but solar panels are producing essentially the same, but it's just a nice steady amount. And then when you look at my power grid status, my batteries at 80,000 are full, 100%, no change in production. Right now I'm producing 2,614, but my consumption is 1,000 less than that. So I've got plenty. So if 10 windmills go down, I'm fine. If I have to demolish the solar panels roof here to do further construction, I'll still be fine. Basically, there's nothing that's going to deter my production power and lessen it to the point I have to worry about it. So I just leave everything on. All my stuff that I've built, whether it's being used or not, I just leave it on. Lights, air conditioning, everything. So let me take it all the way back down, and you can see I've got a power bank of batteries over here. And then we'll go up to the second floor, and I've got a huge storage here, but I've also got another power bank of batteries. And I just don't have to worry if a lot of them malfunction. While they're waiting to be fixed, I've still got plenty of battery power to keep this place going, even at night. And again, I don't turn anything off because I have such an overproduction. So I've got a varied storage area here. And just a tip that you probably already know, but in case you didn't, for example, my smelters over here. I've got an electric smelter and then 2 of the wood-fired ones. And for example, let me tap on Raka here. Okay, so you can smelt metal alloys from ore or scrap, and that's the same with the wood-fired ones, as well as baked bricks and concrete and all that. But so ore and scrap. So what I did was I condensed my scrap, and I've got it stored in other areas and other storage spots. But just to make things easier on my guys and shorten the amount of time it takes for them to keep replenishing that, I put a lot of my scrap in dedicated storage heaps right here, these piles. And then there's some spread out amongst this. But my ore, you can see my ore back here. Yeah, so I got like 2,300 plus right there, and here's some more over here. So I got plenty of ore, and the uh, scrap. The scrap is very short distance for it to get to the smelters, and this is something that you should keep in mind and always try to improve on, and you will see that uh, your characters will be able to uh, be more productive in the it seems like they're awake a long time, but really they're not. Time goes pretty quickly in this game. I always keep it on slow, and it's the hours just tick by very quickly. And you can see I'm at year 32, day 12. It goes by very quickly. One of the other things I would suggest is to build a dedicated storage building for your manure, which is what I've done out here. I've got manure stockpiles, and I found out that I really didn't need storage for 10,000 manure. You just don't need that much. You only need a few hundred at most. And so you can see I've got 1,260 in this little dedicated row right here. So what I did is I converted these over to store just ore that I've mined. Let me take it on up. And I just built this one out of wood. What I plan on doing before I consider this game complete, and then I finally call and wait in line for all my people to be rescued and take it off planet, and in theory you win the game when you do that. I will end up rearranging this entire food production area, and I will put the manure collection point in the middle, so that again they don't have to walk all the way over here, then all the way over here to this, just to lay down manure, and then all the way back to get some more, and then come all the way back for the field right next to it. I'll put it in the center, and that will make it highly efficient then. You can store manure wherever you want. I'm just doing it more of a logical process where you don't want manure near your cooking area or with your other vital materials. To me, it was kind of a logic thing, not just an aesthetic thing. So that's why I have that there. But again, I'll have that in the center and other stuff arranged around it. So let's go back up to the second floor here. So again, I've got all this storage. I put in some nice windows and things. And then my third floor is the observation deck. And I put in a little wedding chapel, the wedding arch thing here. And I did have two characters get married to each other. And they're off planet right now. They got rescued. And so I built an observation room here for when the ships come, the rescue ships and the supply pods get dropped. You can, when you build the orbital radios and everything, you have to have this orbital radio control station here. And when a ship is detected and is within range, you send somebody up and they acknowledge it. And then it will tell you then if they're sending a ship, or you can request resupply, or perhaps it'll just say, like for example, we are strictly a military ship, and all we can send you is some weapons. We can't rescue anybody. So you get a random weapon, or perhaps it'll give you a menu and you can choose which weapon. But whoops, let me go right there and then go forward a little bit. And I built 4 carbon chairs here. I like how they float. I thought that was a very nice effect. And again, I built this entire building out of carbon. And so it has the really nice windows and the designs and everything that go along with that. And then for the roof, carbon roof with the solar cells. I really was pleased with the design. When you do the roof, it gives you a variety of patterns for the roof. So you can do a typical A-frame. In this case, it's more of an X style. But there are other ones. You can even do a flat if you need to. Uh, Another thing you can do is I have a carbon ceiling here, and I could put a flooring down on top of that if I wanted to. And you can make the flooring out of different materials. Uh, and I'll show you that really quickly here. So if you have enough of it, you can use everything from wood to carbon and everything in between. So polished concrete, brick pavers, skin bark, the purple skin bark, which is what I use exclusively on my beds. It's just a nice color to it. But leather, so that's a big area to have leather flooring on, and it's outdoors. It's not protected by a roof. But let's say it was. Let's say it was in the second floor or something. I could have done the whole flooring in leather, and the reason why is let me show you raw fabrics, cloth, and leather material. Whoops, let me come down. Well, I can't point it out with the pointer, but you can see down at the bottom of the list, leather, 15,855. So I've got plenty of leather if I wanted to use it for something like that. So conceivably, every floor of this building, I could put in a different type of flooring, or I could put them all leather if I wanted to. And you can see up here in my inventory, my quick inventory, 4.1 thousand scrap metal, 26.5 thousand wood, 30,000 stone, 27,000 the carbon nanotubes. And then some of these other numbers, they get pretty high. First aid kits, almost, a little over 1,100 there. A lot of this stuff you don't need to make. You will salvage it or acquire it in other ways. And you just don't need to concentrate and waste early resource materials on some of this stuff. Now, you can see all the craters and potholes and stuff from different things that have landed, and I've mined them all out as they fall. Manure is very easy to get. Just click on it like this and hit use, and then my little drones will start heading out and go pick them up automatically. And I can do the same thing over here. And this is what I do just occasionally. And I keep my supply of manure up without having to send my people out to collect it. In fact, it will go to manage here and the activities. I've turned delivery off for all my people. My drones exclusively deliver things unless you specifically tell it to go get something to supply, for example, the smelter or chop the wood or something like that. The drones will pick up the finished materials. You just have to take the raw material to it. And so that frees up my workers to constantly be producing instead of transporting all the time. And let me take this back up. Oh, I'm on 4. So you can see I built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I actually have 2 in front here. Know if it'll show it or not. Well, anyway, there's 2 more on the front side of this. So I have a total of 10 drones to help transport stuff. And there's 3 things that are really key to this game when it comes to technologies that you need to research as soon as possible. And of course, the electricity stuff is key. But the transportation drones are perhaps the most useful thing you can research in this entire game. A Also, the sniper weapons when you get those, so that you can produce your own. Uh, those can really save you in the wild animal encounters and things like that. But I'm telling you, those transportation drones, when you get to the point you can reproduce your own, uh, produce several. I wouldn't mind, and I may still do this. I wouldn't mind having 10 more. They're just constantly shuttling things back and forth, and it really has made the game micromanaging stress level very low, because I just don't have to worry about stuff. So before I had built them, and I'll take this down, and I can almost give you an example. Talus right now is getting materials to go take to the electric furnace, and so what we'll do is wait for him to drop that off, and then we're going to tell him to go chop sticks. So he's going up to do that, and he gets some wood, and then he's going to come downstairs here. But before it does it, oh, go make me some meat soup. I decided to jump the gun and tell him to do that. And now I'm going to tell him to go punch a pole instead. Well, my little drone went over and got the wood that he dropped and took it back to the storage area. So you can see that before I had those drones, and something would happen, or I would tell it, it would start out to do an action where it would produce, for example, clothing. And it would finish, it would leave the clothing on the table, and it would want to take it back and put it in the wardrobe. But I learned that I could tell it to give it a manual command of, no, don't do that, go over here and start working on something else in this, in this workbench, or over here on the stove, or get some more wood, or whatever. I could give it another command and task. It would leave that there, and then the next time I told it to produce some clothing, it would go back to the metal tailor workbench here. I made them out of metal for the most part. And it would, gather the materials and start to produce, a baseball cap or a t-shirt or whatever, a fur coat. And it would drop the previous thing that was made on the floor. Well, I noticed that. And sometimes I could see the little icon, laying on the ground there, the image of it. And I could click on it, and then I could order one of my people to manually go get that and put it away. And they would. But it was a hassle, and of course there's sometimes you can't see some of the things. They might be a obstructed view, and although you can rotate and you can just do all this stuff, and hey, I'm going to go way over here, and you can do all that, and that's one of the amazing things about this game. One of the big advantages it has over RimWorld and other similar games is this ability to fly around and go see stuff. You can handle that from the keyboard or use the mouse and go see the different areas and things. You can see I've got a secondary storage area that I had built up here. Let me go ahead and turn off that keeps empty. It's just nice. You can explore and not have to have one of your survivors here, your little characters, actually be on the screen with you at the same time. You can actually, you have the freedom to explore on your own. And here's another secondary storage area I had. And you can see it's absolutely full of stone. But also notice that I put in some beds out here, and a chair and then a dining setup here, so that uh-oh, what happened with Raka? I don't know. Oh, some debris maybe. He got scared of this new salvage material here. So anyway, I set up several areas around the map so that uh, there would be secondary storage areas so my drones didn't have to go as far when they had multiple pickups in a faraway area. They weren't coming all the way back to the main base and then all the way back, and then 10 minutes go by and they've made 3 trips. Well, by putting in secondary storage areas around the map, they could only take 30 seconds to a minute or so shuttling the materials back and forth to the storage area from where they got mined and dropped. By turning off the transport portion here in the activities, the delivery part, when I would send one of my people to go, for example, you can see these little dots. These are things that need to be mined. They would go out there and they would mine several at a time instead of mining one, picking it up, walking it all the way back to the main area, the storage center, closest storage area, and then walking all the way back and mining again. Well, it takes way too much time. This is where I initially started the game, was right here in this area, and so that's why I kept my compound here and built it here, even though it's not centrally located. Let me pull back, and I'll go up here on this mountain. Okay, this is as far back as we can go. And you can see there's things over there that need to be mined, and there's some, I guess they mined everything out over here, but you can see there's some stuff way in the distance over there that still needs to be mined, but essentially they're almost dead. There's new events and things that fall from the sky that need to be mined and looked into. But for the most part, everything that was on this map has already been mined out. The only thing left really is the trees and all the incidental plant life and stuff. So I'm going to start, just for fun, since I've essentially got everything done, before I get these people rescued, I'm going to cut every damn tree down just to see what's there and what I've missed. Now you can hold your left click mouse button down. Let me get it centered a little better here. And just kind of go like this and release, and it'll show you what you got in that highlighted area you did. So for example, manure, I'll go ahead and tell it to use that. There's a rock chunk that needs to be mined that I missed earlier. Fallen trees. These are logs that randomly occur from the trees and stuff. And then there's some wildlife, and there's 3 dogs that I can tame or hunt if I want to. And then, of course, 316 trees and 119 trees and 46 smaller trees. And so my point is there is a lot of stuff here to mine, and it will take some time. There's tens of thousands of wood that will be mined out of this. Just the fallen wood picked up off the ground has gotten me, over 30,000 units, because I have not had them cut down a live tree since the very first year of the game. And you can see this bald spot here. This is where there was trees, but not even the whole thing had trees. It's really kind of a ring around here and a few up on top. This area right here, for example, not a lot, just a few hundred at most is what I've got out of that. maybe let's say 1,000 or less wood is what I ended up getting out of that. And then I noticed the fallen trees, how many there were. Let's see if there's any in here. No, but I'll go ahead and get that. So I've cleared out the majority of them that have fallen on the ground. Here's some. Here's 7. You see. And so it will also tell you all the other animals and things that you can get, like 3 buttermelons. All you got to do is double click on it and it'll take you right to it. But anyway, so that's my only goal left is to go ahead and cut down every damn tree. Now I'm going to need something to put that in. So what I'm going to end up doing is building a giant storage building. I may put it here. I want it to have the elevators, which is a really handy little thing to research, is to have those elevators, and then you can get them in the housing here, and you can see the elevators here. You're going to have the CPU cores and the carbon nanotubes. They have a carbon nanotube printer, the 3D printer. I built one, and then it wasn't shortly after that I disassembled it because there's so much carbon nanotubes on the ground from, and at least on this map, the alien insects that burrow up from the underground here, and this is the areas that they come out of, in case you haven't seen them. And there'll be 4, 5, 6 mining nodes there, and then they'll have the large center node which spawns the insects. So if you don't kill all the insects, more will eventually spawn out of that. So that's where the sniper rifle comes in handy, is you can come at a distance and pick them off, and then keep them at a certain distance as you back away to when you reload and kill them. And that way it lessens the chance of your people getting injured. And those injuries do add up and can affect gameplay later on. It slows them down, as well as the pain and everything, and they have to make it back somehow. You may have to send a character to come pick them up and take them back so that they can be treated medically. It's a ginormous hassle. So having that sniper rifle, not only does it do a significant amount of damage, it makes life easier on your survivors. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 survivors right now. I had one that died. He had an infection in his eye, and it eventually got him. Took a long time. Took 12 years, I think it was, before he finally passed away. And it was a sudden thing. He just died one day. So that's 8, and then I've had 2 survivors that were rescued. So that's 12 people out of the large selection that's available in the game right now, and I do hope they add more, just for the sake of variety. So far, I've gotten a nice mix. Some are better than others, of course. I would suggest that do whatever you can do to get Hugo and Talus and Edmund. Rack has been very good. Some of the other ones are hit or miss. Maki was the surprise. She wasn't really that effective doing anything. Just an okay worker, but she has. Let's see if it says it here. her natural curiosity, has a chance to field observe unknown species during expeditions. And she did. I've had several of these new crops and things. This buzzshroom field, the cure plant field, and the grain grass field. Which one was this? The giant's grass field, and then this one over here, the synth plant field. And this one over here, the mulch tube field. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new crops from just her going on expeditions. And then one new animal. I can't even think of what the animal was. I think it was a bird. So she was the surprise. And the other thing that she really helped with, and this Krista does also, is in your research. If you get them, she can have insights that really jump the the research ahead of time. And Krista's the one that will jump. She'll jump at like 60%. Out of 100%, she'll start researching something, here on the research desk, and 1%, 2%, 3%, boom, 60. Because she'll have a research insight. And then some of the others will occasionally do those things. Like Hugo has done that for me on a couple of things, but not like 20 or 30% of the time, not a 60% jump like Krista. So they've got a really nice balance with what they've done, balancing mental and physical skills, and then some of the other likes and dislikes that they have. But I'm telling you this because this is an aspect of the end game. When you start out, you only have 4 or 5 people, and then like I had one that died, and then I was down to 4. Oh, I've had 3 people. I'm sorry, 3. So I've had a total of 11 characters in the game. Jack, the old man, was so slow. I basically kept him cooking and doing construction tasks and things that were close to the base, because he kept wanting to run off and do mining and other things and play with the animals, and it took too long. He was too slow. He'd get halfway and then stop, turn around, and come back to go to sleep. He was moving at a snail's pace, and so I kept him busy cooking and producing things on the workbenches. But even then, he didn't do much because he was so slow. He started out with high skill levels in a lot of things, but he was so slow, he was essentially just taking up space and wasn't worth the micromanagement effort that I was putting into him. But again, this goes back to the balance. I had Talus, who runs around at seems like double speed compared to everybody else, and his only downfall is that he doesn't like cooking, yet he eats double the amount that everybody else does. So, but he does everything so quickly. I'm gonna have him come back and do some salvage on that. But anyway, so that just gives you an idea of some of the things in the end stage. And let me take my compound back out here so you can see the whole roof and everything. There's going to be technologies that you have to research that seem cool, but then you find out you don't need them, or you'll never use them, or they are more trouble than they're worth. So you still need to go ahead and research everything. You never know when it'll help. Let's see if we can get this clutch here. Zap him up real quick. He's a big boy. Yeah. I don't particularly like just killing animals, but you do need to resupply yourself with the raw foods and things like that so that you can cook stuff. Remember, you need a variety of meals. You can't just eat the same 2 or 3 things over and over and over. Your people will not like that at all. I'm going to come over here. Yeah, so there is a single little rock right there. But I really enjoyed uh, the micromanaging aspect of this game, more so than any other game I've ever played. The random attacks that you get from the animals and insects and things like that, I think the most I've ever had was like 2 a year. If I've had them more often than that, I didn't notice it. Uh, just consciously noting that I had more than 2 in a single game year. Um, you do have to be prepared for it, but even if you are, just simple barriers and things, they will attack them, they will destroy parts, but it will be enough of a delay that you can get your people there to mount a defense and take care of those kind of things. And once you get the automatic lasers built, they really help out with that as a supplemental. And what I've just gotten finished with just a couple hours ago, actually, were these force field barriers. You can see it says not connected to a power source. And so I need to build me very quickly here. I need to get me a power pole and get these things set up. This kind of messes with the aesthetics of my... I wonder if I could put it up on top. Yeah, that would work. To get these things wired up so that they work. But so I'm not 100% finished with the things that I wanted to do. But that's one of the fun things about this game, is there's always something you can improve on. There's always something there we go. There's always something to make more efficient, make it prettier, just the overall looks of things. There's always something you can do, and it's one of the, well, I think is a fun aspect of this game if you're into the micromanagement stuff. So if you're a fan of RimWorld and games like that, then you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments and stuff. Like, subscribe, all that junk. But I just figured there were enough people that might be interested what the end game kind of looks like for Stranded. Understand that there are other biomes and things and harder difficulties than what I am currently playing. I understand that, and so I'm not saying that this is the most typical results you would ever have for this game, but I'm really enjoying what you can do. It's not going to let me do that. Can I do this? Not inside. No. Uh-oh. A shooting star. Gotta go back and do this part. Okay. There are some minor things that I have a problem with this game. and that is the AI is very, how can I put it? It just does some silly things. And one of the silly things is, and this may frustrate people pretty quickly, is that let's say you have a mining site and it's got 5 rocks that need to be mined, and it's a long distance from camp, and it automatically goes out there on its own. You don't even have to direct it to go out there. Uh, and it goes out there and it starts mining, and everything's cool, and it mines 4 of them, but not the 5th one. And it turns around and starts to run all the way back to the base because it decides it's hungry or something like that. And it's just so frustrating how inefficient the AI is. Maybe they deliberately programmed it that way. That's a possibility. I don't know. Uh, I can't see why they would justify doing that if that's the truth. But that is something that can be very frustrating, especially in the early parts of the game where efficiency could be the difference between you guys, freezing in the winter or getting those materials so that you can keep the campfire going or make clothing or whatever, get food, just getting food. You kill 4 animals and it only slaughters 2, and the other 2 are rotting out there because it decided to uh, slaughter it, but kill it, but then not carve it up while it was out there. So you lose the food, the leather, and all the time it took for it to go out there, and then you have to redirect another survivor or that same survivor back out there to finish the job and get those materials and get them delivered in. And that's part of the micromanagement at the beginning of the game that's kind of frustrating. So, but it is a very minor complaint, and there's a couple more things like that. But uh, overall, I'm very happy with the game. And again, I just thought people would be interested in kind of what the end game looks like. And you can just keep building and building and tearing things down and moving them and to your heart's delight. This really is almost like a sandbox game. Uh, the other thing that I think is special about this game is let's face it, it's essentially RimWorld, but it's not cartoonish. These look like real people. The clothing changes when you change out a jacket or something like that. So uh, let's take Talus here and let's draft him. All right, and then we're gonna zoom in on him here. See his little hat, everything. Let's go to his clothing. You can see the hat and everything. Here's his boots that need to be changed out. Let's undraft him, and then tell him to go switch his boots. And let's go over here, and let's go over here, and let's go over here. And we'll see what he does. So you can even see him getting him out. And the only thing I would improve on that whole situation right there is that the doors to the wardrobe would actually open. The freezers, when they go to get something out of a freezer, that the doors would actually open up. Uh, we're talking very, very minor complaints, but that's the kind of stuff I wish they would kind of clean up in this game because everything else is done so very well. So kudos to whoever programmed this thing and designed it and everything. I think they really did a good job. I like RimWorld, but I love this game. It just seems so much more realistic and visually pleasing. To me, it's the kind of the same thing about the old EverQuest and World of Warcraft. the ease of gameplay in World of Warcraft was so much better, but it looked cartoonish to me. It looked like little kids. And EverQuest, the graphics are very dated, but I still enjoy playing it much more than World of Warcraft. Just for the overall visual presentation and things. Um, Two great games, but same thing with RimWorld and Stranded here. Two great games, but I'll take Stranded. I'm leaning heavily in favor of it. Um, I just the detail, all these plants are different. I just they really done a good job with it. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. And thanks for watching. And do all that like and subscribe stuff if you prefer. Uh, I live stream on Twitch, uh, and my name on Twitch is Lenexa also, or Lenexa, not Lenexa also, Lenexa, and so uh, I try to stream just about every day. It might be 1 hour, it might be 11 hours. It just depends on if I have to work that day or not. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you learned something.